The fact that they have like $4 million listings in their platform, that's pretty cool that they've gone after like some bigger agents, and that the agents are like, yeah, we're open to innovating, and we're not like too cool to just like, be static.
That's the cool thing about this innovation. And I've said this millions of times, real estate agents, you have to change with the times.
How's it going, everyone? Welcome back to another episode of the Shawn and Matt Show. My name is Matt, that is Shawn, and welcome to our show. Shawn, in today's episode, Redfin cuts 13% of their staff and shuts down their entire home flipping business, Redfin Now. We're going to talk about that. We're also going to be talking about a new service that has just launched that has promised more transparency to buyers, sellers, and agents alike. And it's launched in the DC area. What are our thoughts on that? And then we're also going to get into in or out, whether Shawn Battle is in or out on a couple different properties across the United States. Shawn, let's start with an article from everywhere on the internet, Bloomberg, and you name it. The article is out there. Redfin cuts 13% of its staff, shuts down home flipping business. So, Shawn, essentially, we've talked about this before. You can flip houses when the market is good. When the market goes down, you're chasing the market. You're behind the market. So, unfortunately, Redfin laid off 860 workers, which is absolutely terrible when we're talking about people, losing their job. That brings the total number of layoffs for Redfin to 27% of their entire staff since the end of April. Absolutely terrible. And they've shuttered their iBuying business, Redfin Now. So now where we're at, Zillow, no longer iBuying, Redfin, no longer iBuying. And, is this just a case where iBuying doesn't work, or does Redfin and Zillow, do they have flawed models? Because, we talked about this last week or a couple weeks, before, where I was like, all right, well, Open Door, they're worth a couple $1 billion. Like, they're going to figure a way to make this work. But I don't know if they will figure out a way to make this work, because they're losing billions of dollars. Redfin has lost millions of dollars. Zillow, lost $500 million. Shawn, what do you make of Redfin stopping Redfin Now? And, honestly, the future of iBuying, because, how many months can you float losing millions, and maybe even billions of dollars?
Didn't I say this 2.5 years ago? I mean, I said iBuying is tricky. And when you're investing in homes, these are big, risky things. And what's happening is all of these iBuyers are going to different markets. And there's tons of different markets that they're investing in. But we all know that these markets are different. And you have to know intimately how that market is performing. And it can change instantly. And so, Phoenix might be completely different from Atlanta at a different time. So you have to have your finger on the pulse of each market. And so when you are buying blanketedly in a market that's going up, everything is easy. It's just like being a real estate agent. All these agents now are realizing, wait, it's going to take 60 days to sell the property. This sucks. I'm not used to this. Well, iBuying is the same thing. When all property values are going up, it's really easy to do it. But when property values start coming down just a little bit, you're going to start losing money. And the thing is, when you're purchasing homes, it's such a big risk. Think about how risky that is. If you have agents that are going out and selling, pretty much that you're probably going to sell, and there's very low risk. There's not a ton of cost, and there's very low risk. But when you're going for homes, there is a ton of risk and there's a ton of cost. Yeah, the upswing could be big when the market's good, but when the market's down, the downside is even worse that we're seeing right now. This is exactly what I was warning against 2.5 years ago. When markets change, they change quickly, and no one knows when it's coming. And all of a sudden, you're holding millions and millions of dollars of property, and you have to get rid of them. Here's another thing. If you're doing an iBuying situation, yes, the goal is to flip it over and turn profit. Why then don't they have a fail-safe catch kind of safety net that says, okay, if the market falls 10%, we're a buy and hold strategy. We're going to rent these out. What are the rental values? Can we rent them out? That kind of thing, right? So you're not just saying, I'm selling all these things at a loss. There goes $45 million or $100 million or whatever it is that they're losing. Hey, maybe it's a good strategy because maybe next year it'll come back up because interest rates have just made this whole situation horrible. And it was a big pop up. Once we get a hold of inflation, those interest rates should come down. You hold for a year, you hold for 2 years, you get renters in there, they're paying your costs, and then you sell it. Why does it have to be a fire sale? And I guess it's investors, but wouldn't an investor rather see, oh, we have assets? We're holding assets instead of time to fire sell. Let's get rid of them all. Oh, we just lost $850 million. Like, does it make any sense? I don't think it does. What's your opinion, Matt?
I don't think they have the boots, they as in Redfin, Open Door, I don't think they have the boots on the ground to turn around and change this into a buy and hold strategy. Like, Open Door doesn't even have listing descriptions for their properties. Have you looked at Open Door properties? It just says this house has a screened-in porch. This house has granite countertops. Open Door, worth billions of dollars, they don't have words to describe their properties in the MLS. It's ridiculous. It's crazy.
Yeah, and maybe they should have strategized beforehand to think, okay, what if the market does fail? What if it stops? What if Phoenix goes up and Atlanta's going down or whatever, right? You have to know this stuff. And I always say that real estate is a very intimate, knowledge-based kind of business. Algorithms are great, but they give you a kind of a value. But the agents on the ground know the market and they know what its value is in real time because they're seeing it happen. And the thing is, the values that you're seeing and that the algorithms are using for the most part are 30 days old or 60 days old because we as agents are seeing it happen now. We know what that contract's getting. We know what that house is getting right now, but the public and everybody else doesn't know for 30 to 60 days when it settles because that's not public until then. So you're basing your algorithm on old data. And so if the markets fall like they've fallen quickly like this, you're already gone. And we were watching articles and they were behind us. And I'm like, it's going to get worse. The articles are going to get worse. It's going to get worse. And it did because I'm watching the real estate in real time. And they're not. You know what I mean? So it just dumbfounds me that a company this big doesn't have a strategy just in case. You know what I mean?
Well, it seems like things are getting, from bad to worse for Redfin. Market Watch reports that Redfin has lost in their stock 92.9% of value in the past 12 months.
That's
the
crazy.
stock has plunged 93%
That's insane.
in the past 12 months. And a notable investor from Oppenheimer, Jason Helfstein, recommended his investors sell as he explained that the real estate services company has a flawed business model. Shawn, did you hear about this flawed business model? We believe Redfin's core business is fundamentally flawed with fixed cost model for agents versus 100% commission for the industry. And he explained, read from the article, that Redfin's business model prevents the company from optimizing margins when housing markets decline and prevents it from gaining market share when markets rebound. So essentially, when markets go up, other agents, other brokerages are making more money because they have a different model. And, when markets, go down, Redfin is not adjusting with, essentially the time. So, Shawn, what are your thoughts on a potentially flawed business model?
I mean, that's a great point too. I always felt like the agents, and I'm not going to say anything bad about the agents or anything, but usually a lot of them are newer agents or they want things fed to them. And there's always going to be those agents that, hey, they don't want to do their own marketing, that kind of thing. And that's good for them, right? And they have different things for those agents like healthcare and stuff like that. So it's more of a guaranteed thing. Whereas agents like us right now, there's a lot of agents that are like, where's my next commission check? I'm not used to this. I just had a great year, but all of a sudden I have no money coming in. I didn't save anything. There's people out there right now that are going through this and they're like, I might have to stop being a real estate agent because they haven't seen the downs. So in one essence, it's good for people that need security. But yeah, exactly. Like you are only going to make this much. You have to sell more and more houses to make any more money. But as the market goes up, all these other companies are banking. They're banking all the money and you're not. So I can see the point there.
Yeah, I don't know if we've seen a discount brokerage succeed long term. We've had some come in. We've had Purple Bricks come in. They failed. We've had Rex come in. They failed rather loudly, I would say. And, with Redfin's stock going down 93%, and them shuttering their iBuying business and losing millions of dollars, certainly not a good sign moving forward.
Yeah, and that's the thing is they put up so much risk on something that they already had that was good, which was, their discount brokerage. And they put up and they said, we're going to iBuy. And that was such a big risk. And now it's starting to tank them. I think the difference between Redfin and all the others is Redfin has such a good platform that they built that people actually use. So they're a lead generator. And that's the difference, where a lot of these other ones are just going based on their low commission rates. Whereas this one, they have actually built a really good system, a really good thing that you want to search through. And in turn, they get a lot of clients from that.
Certainly something to see as we move forward here, because I enjoy the Redfin app.
Mm-hmm.
I enjoy when there's a Redfin agent on the other side of the transaction, because I know that they're overworked and they're usually thinking about other transactions because they don't have enough agents to field how many listings they actually have.
Yeah.
But at the same time, I've also worked with them on the Redfin Now side, and it was a catastrophe wrapped inside of a problem, wrapped inside of a disaster.
And that's where we started seeing the flaws, because your client was buying one and they had just bought this property, and of course they know what's wrong with it because they offered on it and they probably did the inspection and reduced their offer price based on what they found in the home inspection. But then when Matt goes and writes on the property, none of this stuff is disclosed. He's like, what's going on with this home inspection? This is horrible. Did you guys know that this was happening? This was happening? No idea.
Yes,
well, you should.
It's pretty comical.
It's comical, right? If this is a huge risk. Think about the risk that you're taking on about disclosure laws. You're a real estate company and you're not disclosing about a property that you purchased that has problems. You have to disclose those things, and you're not, because you don't know, because there was a disconnect, in my opinion, right? A disconnect between the purchase and then the end sale, and there's a whole new agent on there, right? So like the people that were probably purchasing are not the ones that are selling it, so they don't have the knowledge. I don't know. We saw writing on the wall. I saw writing on the wall a long time ago because I've been through bad markets trying to flip, and I lost a lot of money. And I was like, dude, it's going to happen. It's going to happen. And it happened. And it happened a lot worse than I expected because we saw something unforeseen,
And here we are.
That's it.
All right, let's move on to our next topic. This is a new service that is launched in the Washington, D.C. Metro area, and it's also going to be launching across the United States, I believe. It's called Final Offer, Shawn, and it is a way to buy and sell homes with transparency. It's geared, towards real estate agents, but it's hoping to alleviate kind of the unknowns and add more clarity to offers. Because oftentimes when we submit offers, we don't know if there's another offer. Agents are always like, oh yeah, we definitely have another offer. And you're like, yeah, sure you do. You've been on the market for like a month. We don't know if there's another offer. We don't know if they've had any offers in the past, if they've, accepted offers in the past, if they've, declined offers in the past. There's just a lot of unknowns. And so we're just left kind of guessing. And so what Final Offer is here to do is it is a way to improve the negotiation process. It essentially opens up and shows the listings offer history window, so it can allow buyers to and their agents to see the details of essentially what is needed to be done to get a winning offer across the table. So you can see the offer history, and then when it comes time to make the offer, you go to finaloffer.com, you look up the property ID, and it'll have the list price, if it's $1 million, and then it'll have the final offer price. Now, I was thinking the final offer price would be, slightly lower than the list price so far. We've only come across final offer prices that are slightly higher. Now we are coming off of like a record, real estate era. Mm-hmm. And I will say that, final offer is 3 weeks old. So maybe the sellers on here are like, okay, well, let me, be a little conservative here, put a higher final offer price. But, you start clicking around, and especially on the properties that are like, under contract, you can essentially see what transpired and what happened with those offers. So, Shawn, what are your thoughts on, not only final offer, but just big picture, grand scheme, the offer process and improving the transparency between buyer's agent, seller, and seller's agent?
Yeah, to be honest, I'm just wrapping my head around this thing. I just read what this company is about or what this website is about, and I'm still trying to grasp, like, how's this going to benefit? How's it going to work? I think in one way it can benefit by like you were saying, you can see if there was any offers. And basically, if you have interest in this, you can watch that and you can see if they get an offer. And so then you're like, oh crap, they got an offer. We can put our offer in. Because a lot of times in the industry right now, you could be liking a property, and if you're not in tune with it and you're not talking to the agent all the time, they could get an offer and go under contract. Whereas now you can watch and you say, oh man, they just got an offer. Maybe we need to get our stuff ready and get in something before they accept that offer. And I think there are some things in there that they can control as far as, oh, we're not going to put this out yet, as far as what that price is. But if they don't take it, then they put it out there and say, hey, we had an offer at $4.2 million and it didn't sell. We're waiting to get 4.5.
This service is being used by, some big time agents, big time teams like the Jen Smira team or group in DC, and a couple other Compass agents and whatnot. What's interesting is like we have a contract, right? Like everyone has the Virginia residential contract or the G-Car contract, whatever it may be. But there's no like formal like here, just email it to me and then text me once I've received it. Like I feel like there should be a better way. It's like, when we were first starting with like credit cards online, it's like you would just email your credit card to someone like, oh, you need my credit card for this? Here, let me just email it. Now, if a business did that to you, you'd be like, don't you have like a portal? Don't you have like something more secure? So I'm thinking with like an offer process, I don't want to email my offer to an agent that has like an AOL.com like email address. Like there should be like a better, more regulated service and practice and like across the board. And I think final offer could be maybe the start of something like that.
That's a really, really good point, because there are times when you submit an offer, and I know I've talked to agents and they're like, I swear they just didn't even look at my offer.
Can I get like a read receipt?
Exactly.
Like
can I get some confirmation,
scene?
Especially when you're getting 16 offers? And believe me, I've gotten those, and you're like, pulling your hair out trying to figure out, did I call this person? Did I let everybody know? You know?
Finally get to them and they're like, oh, thank gosh, I saw that it went to spam. And unless you had texted me, I would have never got. It's like, what?
Yeah. You could have missed an offer by it going to spam, and then you're losing money based on. So that is a really, really good point. And if you've ever done anything on like, there's definitely auction websites out there. This is kind of the same thing where, you can just throw in an offer, but you're not actually writing the contract at that point. You're saying, I'm willing to bid, this one's $4.5 million. I'm willing to bid $4.35 million. And then what they do is they say, all right, well, I guess inside the system, they can say, hey, if you don't have a finance contingency, that in my seller's eyes is worth $10,000. And if you don't have a home inspection, that in my seller's eyes is worth $15,000. So if you're going against another offer, there's a weighted average for these different contingencies that you're waiving. And so you can actually in real time kind of look as a seller, look at these offers and say, well, this one with the no contingencies is to me worth, $4.5 million. The other one that is offering a little bit higher than them on a price has all these contingencies. So that weighted average is lower than the other one with no contingencies. So it's a cool way of doing that.
Well, how about this? Once you submit the offer, there's a 2-day offer window. And maybe it's 2 days, maybe you can adjust that. But you ever submit an offer and your client's like, hey, it's been 2 or 3 days, like we haven't heard back, or like, hey, when are we going to hear back? Or hey, when does this offer expire?
All the time.
And we're like, well, technically the offer doesn't expire. And oh, you submitted your offer on Thursday. I just heard from the seller they're going to wait until the open house to like review. It's like,
well, hey, my offer expires.
Just smack me in the face.
Yeah.
Because our offer's not good enough. So the fact that there's an offer window, really cool feature. I also like the seller Q&A. So you can go down and be like, all right, what do you love about the house? What's cool about the neighborhood? It's a little more extra. I don't know. I'd be curious to know what like the MLS, like Bright, thinks about this, because in like the Bright description, it's like, hey, go to this third-party website and you have information that's not on the MLS about the property. And I'm saying, looking at this 4 point whatever million, how do you describe the neighborhood? Very walkable, very international community. I don't know if you can say very international community. So maybe that's the seller filling out that information. But it essentially looks like the MLS. Like you go through it, has the great pictures, has the overview, has the map, the Q&A, and then it essentially gives you, the offer terms, what the seller is looking for. And then if you click final offer terms, essentially like you do the final offer, you meet the seller's price, you meet their, finance contingency, their settlement time frame, your offer is like automatically accepted. So I think it's really cool that they show exactly like, hey, our seller's looking for, to close on this date, and then this is the contingencies they're looking for, as opposed to like having to call the agent. And like, some people upload the documents, some people don't. Some people say they, look in the document section, and there's nothing in the document section. So I think it's kind of cool.
I agree with you, and that's the one thing is you do have to communicate with those agents to see what the seller wants. And a lot of times, sometimes you can't get through to them, and the offer's due, and then you got to just throw this offer in, and you don't know what the actual seller wants because of the time frame. And I think it can work in an up market and a down market. It's just sometimes transparency. Like if you get a really good offer, you don't want to put it out there that, hey, this is what I got, because I don't know. Sometimes it works in your favor not to say anything because other people bid like crazy high that you never thought you would. And all of a sudden,
I don't want to say that offer is like immediately visible.
Yeah, right. I think it's
maybe once an offer is accepted,
yeah,
they list. And if you know more about this, or if you're the
please
final
tell us.
offer CEO and you're
We've never used
this,
it.
But I don't think it immediately like shows all your cards. But I
Yeah.
think after the fact, it'll be like, okay, here's how it broke down.
You know what I see this happening with this is Bright MLS like saying, all right, we are now offering a subscription to this for our agents. Like I think the listing agents have to pay a fee for it, but everybody else doesn't. So buyer agents and sellers and buyers do not. But like they do with other products that they find interesting or new or nice for agents and encourage them to use them. They'll say, oh, well, this new subscription is now part of your Bright MLS subscription. This could happen. Like they did with Home Visit, right?
Mm-hmm.
So Home Visit is the platform that we use to take pictures and all that stuff.
It just keeps getting bought. It just got bought again like a couple months ago.
Yeah, so that's probably what's going to happen to this. I think it's a really good tool. I don't know exactly how it works because I've never functionally used it, but it is a good way to make things more transparent, inform agents on how to write, what something means to the seller, how much does a finance contingency mean to a seller, how much does a waived home inspection mean to the seller. That's really valuable information on getting a really good offer for your client.
It says real-time offer history gives buyers the opportunity to make the winning offer. Real-time offer history. Real-time history. Real-time history. I think we need to learn a little bit more about it, but we're literally 3 weeks into this brand new company. So it's like I like where it's going. It's not something where we just like sweep it under the rug or just completely write it off. Like I like it. I think it's pretty cool.
If you use it as an agent, please comment below, and as we learn more, we'll comment in the comment section below the video so that we can update you on
the
what
fact
we
that
learn.
they have like $4 million listings in their platform.
Yeah.
That's pretty cool that they've gone after like some bigger agents, and that the agents are like, yeah,
This works.
we're open to innovating, and we're not like
That's the
too cool to just like be static.
That's the cool thing about this innovation. And I've said this millions of times, real estate agents, you have to change with the times. And there's a lot of agents that aren't changing with the times, and they're still doing, one-page printouts that they did on their home computer. It's like, you got to be better than that. And this is what is elevating other agents to become better and more transparent to the buyers. So.
All right, let's move on to our third topic. This is in or out, where we go through a couple of properties. I'm going to ask Shawn if he is in or out on a couple different houses throughout the United States.
Okay.
Shawn, first house, 515 Main Street in Latah, Washington. It is a converted school. So we got a 5-bed, 6-bath, 1,600 square foot school. It used to be an elementary school. It still has public school written on the front of the main entrance, which is now the front of your home. Needs a little bit of work here or there. It's a historic school, and the kicker is you get your own gymnasium.
Okay,
so
that's pretty cool.
It was built all the way back in 1908. So the kids used to play in the gym here, and then they'd sit in the mezzanine up there. 5 beds, 6 baths, 15,000 square feet for $699. Shawn, are you in or out on the converted school?
Matt, when I first am looking at this now, this is the first time I'm seeing it, $699 for almost 16,000 square feet seems like an amazing deal. Where it goes wrong for me is school. I think everybody hates to be in school. And I personally would hate to be back in school every single day of my life. You're reminded this is where kids were taking class. And not only that, think about the bathrooms. You have to expand those. You have to redo maybe.
Some of the bathrooms are kind of awkward. And you got the urinal.
Yeah, it's like, and then you've got these rooms that are probably oversized, and like, what do you do with them? How do you make this cool? For those reasons, Matt, I'm out.
DC has some converted schools that have now turned into condos, like Dwight Howard. No chance you know who Dwight Howard is. No. You know Dwight Howard? Dwight Howard used to live in Capitol Hill when he pretended to play for the Wizards for like half a season and then became good when he moved on. But he lived in this converted, public school. When you said school, I thought you were gonna have like nightmares and like of little kids like yelling or something like that.
That could be another thing,
or like
right?
singing a song.
Oh yeah, it's like spooky.
Yeah,
converting that to condos I've seen that done before, but this is one house.
I think this is like a hype house, like the TikTok hype houses where like a bunch of people like live there and work there. I love the house. I am so in on it because I could do so many different things in so many different rooms. There'd be like a podcast room, like a video room, a workout room, like a legit dining area, like a man cave sort of situation. And there's a lot of like home projects that you could do. Now, I will say I'm not familiar with Latah, Washington, but I would imagine that $700,000 is probably like $500,000 more than like all
the
of
average
other
home.
houses.
Yeah.
So, and you got
a parking lot.
You could park a bus. You could park
got
a couple buses.
That is very rural area.
Yeah.
But it's neat, but that ain't for me, man.
The converted schoolhouse.
Nope.
What if it was like a converted church?
No, what I would buy that for would be there's bars that are converted church.
Oh,
so in
okay.
Pittsburgh, in the Strip District, there was this bar that was an old church, and I think now it's a brewery, which is a really cool thing, right? But for a home, I'm not converting a house or a church.
They convert everything in Pittsburgh to a bar.
Pretty much. We drink a lot.
All right, let's move on to the next house. This is in Oberlin, Ohio. I think I sent this one to you. 170 Pyle South, Amherst Road. It's a 2-bed, 3-bath, contemporary house for $1 million, 6,873 square feet. Stunning contemporary, built in 2004. Shawn, crazy design if you're watching on YouTube from the outside. Even crazier interior. You got the oval doorway passage through. You got the diagonal, hardwood floors, the rounded architecture. Shawn, are you in or out on this stunning contemporary?
Matt, when you sent this to me, it was eye-catching. It was something that I've never seen before, and it was a nice, cool contemporary look. I liked it. And I'd say that I'm in on this.
You're in.
I'm totally in on this because it's the scarcity. Well, that's kind of weird, but it doesn't matter. It's just cool. It's different. It's spaceship like. I love modern mid-century kind of looks. That's neat right there. They have a glass wall that kind of looks out into like a garden, which is cool. And that is big over in the Alexandria neighborhood. They'll do
Holland Hills.
Holland Hills, man. Holland Hills to me was like the coolest thing. I love those places. The one downside is that, you do have some weird rooms, shapes, but it's one of a kind. It's very cool. I'm buying it.
I'm in on it. I think I'd be entertained by the shapes. I think part of it would be annoying because it's not traditional, but I think that's what also makes it cool. And it looks like it's right next to a golf course. So I think I might just walk, or I could just take a golf cart right to the first tee box.
Oh, yeah.
And then
what's that round circle of water? Is that
I don't know.
Irrigation?
Maybe
is that a sewer?
That's weird. But it's right next to a golf course.
That is cool.
It's contemporary. I'm a fan of contemporary. It's very contemporary. So you
It's
gotta
very-
love contemporary.
Yeah.
But I'm in. I mean, it's only two bedrooms. So 2 bedrooms for $1 million. That's steep, but the contemporary is winning me over. So
Totally cool. I'm in. Yeah.
let us know if you are in or out on these houses. Definitely hit the thumbs up button if you made it this far. 5 stars on your favorite podcast player. Subscribe if you haven't already. And for Shawn and myself, until next time, we'll see you then.
Take care.